Hey guys, this is Sparkless Ultra here, and this is my redo on what if Deku had Leatherhead abilities, the Sewer Gator of New York. And I hope you like this video. This video was the first TMNT one, which I was pretty new back then. It wasn't great, but it was something. But I hope you like this video and hope you subscribe. In the middle of the back streets of New York City, a young baby that was in a carriage was left and crying. The kid was trying to yell for help, trying for attention, but nobody was there. Then rain comes and poured like the heavy stream. The manholes were clogged up, flooding the streets of New York, and Zuku was floating about in the streets of New York. But something was also making a problem in the streets as well. Two men were dealing with a clogged that was clogging up the streets of New York, and the men were trying to get rid of the stuff that was in blocking the man pipes with somehow trying to not get anybody in it. Zuku was floating in the streets of New York, and then the two men unclogged the manhole, and the job went well. But when they unclogged it, a carriage, Zuku, the little baby's carriage, was swept and went into the sewers, and the men who were dealing with it were surprised and worried about what happened. It was too late. The little kid was gone, and over 6 years have passed, and New York was doing what the big city always does, and kids were playing Foursquare on the streets of their place. The kid that got struck out by the other was gonna get the ball, but heard a hissing sound, something unique to him. He thought of nothing, but he heard it again. The kid goes back and checks it out, but when he looks at the manhole, there was nothing but darkness. But when he gets closer, he sees yellow eyes glowing, and snapped at the ball with a fierce spite force, and grabbing the ball and swiftly bringing it to the sewers. And the kid was shocked and surprised and all amazed and scared. Goes to his friends. His friends thought he was lying. He goes to his mom, and her mom thought he was just making beliefs. And the next day, New York City was doing fine. Then a emergency on the computer of where the sewer clogged was having a problem. The staff were finding the thing that was clogging one of the pipes, but when they got down to the sewers, all they see was crickets, rats, mites, some cockroaches, larvae, and all the usual things that they see in the sewer. They were going to be going up until they see a bubbling water in the sewers. They were going to neglect it, but they look at it closer a bit, taking a generous look. But it was time to leave, so they gone back up to the sewers from the sewer. But when they got back up, the creature looks at what they did and what they'd done, and was interested on how that worked. And the next day have passed, and New York was being as usual as itself, with lots of heroes, business people, and people that are from different places. Then when they were going to do their usual, a car was going to stop driving while it was at a stoplight, but was waiting on the stoplight. But something was going off. When the man was going to prepare itself to go on the green light, car had issues. Something was not right with the car. And the man says, damn it, why is this thing not working? I just had this thing new. And people were honking him, telling him to get going. And the man says, I know, but I don't know what I'm dealing with. Then he goes and checks his car and then sees something embedded on it. Huh? What the? Is that a freaking sewer line? How the hell did that get up there? And when he says that, he looks down. It's opened. What the? Then the being throws the car up in the air. The man was shocked and surprised. A villain? Looking at the being that was throwing his car out of the pipe lane sewer. And all the cars that were having drivers saw the car going up. What the? Then crashes down on top of the other car's hood, going to fall on the cars, but was saved by heroes. And the heroes were wondering, who did this? And look at the being with leathery crocodile-like features, but with some unique looks. Huh? Did we have an alligator? No way an alligator like that throws the car that easily. If it was Gustava, it would be fairly easy. But he was a crocodile. Nile. So you're the menace who did that. And the being looks at them and was seeing all of the world, seeing New York for the first time out of the sewer, and was wondering. And the heroes say, put your hands up! This isn't how it's gonna be. You can put your hand on your head, or we will use our violence on that. And the being was confused on what they're saying, and the heroes say, your choice now, electro buzzers, and shocking the being, and the being felt the shocks and gets furious and snaps a tire out of the cars and threw that at him. And the man says, what the? And getting his hands onto the tire and thinks, what the? What is he? Then the being punches him with a straightforward punch. And the hero says, oh, ow! And the being was confused and scared and goes back into the sewer. And the heroes were wondering, what did this thing, and how is it in the sewers? And the heroes are having a hard time figuring that thing out, but they need somebody to help them. And the mayor asked one of Japan's heroes to help them out subduing this being, this person. And the person who offered to help was Midnight, the rated R hero. And she was going into the sewers to help out and having a guide to find where the being was. And she says, how does this thing work? This person would likely have some unique resistance to this. No average human would survive these heats. And the sewer guider says, you're right about that, Midnight. But have you heard of insects and the long tail of the gators in the sewers? And Midnight was confused on what she heard. Huh? I haven't heard that. Oh, I forgot you were from Japan. But I'll tell you the story. A long time ago, we had sewers we weren't used to yet. in the 1920s or in 30s, we were still getting used to our sewers. But a man was wondering what was that sound and was checking every sewer to clear what they're dealing with. Then they saw a nest filled with alligators, and Midnight says, "Oh, very interesting. How did alligators survive in these places?" Well, you see, Midnight, alligators can survive in these sewers because, unlike other animals, they're very opportunistic animals. They were really hungry. I bet they were hungry enough that they could these things. You see, there were rats, cockroaches, larvae, and other types of crap. And Midnight says, how interesting. So it might have been a alligator user. That's what we're thinking. I mean, it's very bizarre on how alligators got here. Even for New York, that's different. If it was Florida, that's another story. Huh? What do you mean by Florida? Well, there was a man that used an alligator for a weapon. Well, the US is very unique. And the man says, well, be lucky if you're not in California. California is not the very bright place to deal with. Amen to that, Midnight says. And then the man tracks down where he first saw this first place that the gator user had, and says, well, this was the first place we found him, but it was not easy to figure out these places. We have to dial up the code numbers of every street. Sometimes it's easy, but other times there has been reason that there hasn't been any alligators lately. But I'm taking a guess that the alligators have been adopted or have been raised. But in New York, we didn't have the right type of animals or feeding to last them. So it was pretty hard to figure it out. Plus, we didn't have planes back then. Well, sort of. But we didn't know how to help these things or hatch them. Plus, I'd rather not deal with alligators in adult time. And Midnight says, so that's a hard time? I don't know how you could hatch eggs like that, but I doubt if you put them in the sewers, you could hatch them. Exactly, but I didn't know how we got gators in there. That's the bizarre part. New York was never supposed to have alligators, but they came out of nowhere. And Midnight waves to the man, thanking him on how to find the place. Now she has to put a trap for the beast alligator user. She waited for him, putting a trap on to catch him, and get some snacks to wait for him. Then she hears a splash of water and says, man, we really need to cut down on those things. She sees the gator user on the nest he was making and sees, a bicycle and some crafty chemistry, and she thinks, that's weird. He's no villain. Usually villains would take something out of places that could benefit them, but this is different. She's thinking to herself, does this mean he's a kid? And she touched a drop of water on her foot, tapping it on, and Zuku looks around, feeling the water around him and wondering who's there. And Midnight says, oh right, forgot about alligators and their very sensitive water sensitivity. They can sense any vibrations in the water. No matter how dim it was, they can sense it even when they're having their albinoism and blind as well. And Zuku looks around and smelling and having his eyes reflecting to see around, clearing what bits of water is affecting his eyes, and then makes a sound and heard another sound coming from a distance, and Zuku rushes to the thing, coming at it at full speed, but it was some type of glasses that was in the water. Zuku never seen these there. Then he feels the vibration from the water and sees a woman, Midnight, and she says, "Don't worry, I won't hurt you because I'm the rated R hero, Midnight." And Zuku was confused on what she said, but goes forth and tries to take her out. But Zuku's scent smells the toxins from Midnight and was passing out. And Midnight says, "Sorry for interrupting your daily search, but I was supposed to tame you down and try to not hurt you." Zuku trying to will himself out of not being into the neurotoxins and goes for a punch, but slowly fading his punch. And Midnight says, "Good night," and Zuku falls down onto Midnight's lap and says, "Sorry for doing that." Midnight ties up Zuku and takes him to the out of the sewer, and all the people were flashing cameras at Midnight and Zuku. Zuku was not liking the flash photography at him, and Zuku was nearly getting annoyed. But Midnight says, please, keep the photo sensitivity down. I don't think our friend likes it." And Zuku looks at Midnight and was wondering, why is she helping him? And she takes him to the mayor, and the mayor says, so it was a kid that was making the problems in the sewer, in the street. He's lucky that he's not in trouble for it yet. Give me a reason why he's not getting into jail for this." And Midnight thinks, can you understand me? And Zuku looks at her and doesn't know what she's saying. And Midnight says, "As I thought." And Midnight says, it seems like our little guy here doesn't even know his words or doesn't understand what's happening. All he knows was saw some things in the sewer and probably was interested in it, and probably thanks to his alligator pork, he was surviving off of cockroaches, skewers, and what have you. The mayor says, "Oh, so that makes sense. But what did he do for thinking? He did some damage to two people's cars without any. He was so reckless and was attacking with no parent thinking." And Midnight thinks, you're right. But judging from some things, he didn't know what was up there. He probably accidentally hit something. Sort of like sharks. And the mayor says, fair point. We have great whites that would attack boats here, so it ain't common. Midnight also thinks, he probably was too scared and was supposed to went back into the sewers. So that's why he didn't cause much trouble. And also because of how the hero attacked him. He was defending himself. When Midnight tried to defend Zuku for what he did, Midnight and the mayor hear a devastation blow from the entrance of the New York entrance of City Hall. And the mayor says, "What the heck just happened?" And the agents and police say, it's one of the people who wants to have a moment of talk 4 wants to rob you. And the mayor says, huh? Great, we have to deal with this now. And Midnight says, we need to counter out this. And the mayor says, okay, keep this kid in line. And keeping 2 police officers on him. And Zuku was confused on what they're doing. And Midnight says, I'll go deal with these guys. And the mayor says, thank you, Midnight. Now, I gotta get into a safety place. And Midnight goes into action. And 2 people with a sledgehammer and a chainsaw with a mini machine gun says, Oi! Are you ready, Bebop? Yes, sir! Rockstay, my pal. Let's get this mayor and have us ourselves with money. Let's give him hell, Bebop! And Midnight gets into cover and sees a rhino user and a boar user. Basically, 2 animal quirks. And she's thinking, how can I take these 2 guys out about as strong as rhino and boar? So I don't know how I fare easily with these 2. And Bebop says, oh man, this is so much fun, Rocksteady. I know, right, Bebop? Let's give out a shout out to this. And Rockstay hits the ground with a thundering, shattering boom without any holding back. And Midnight feels the ground shaking, and the object she hid and was destroyed. And Bebop says, oh, I think we got a hero for this. And Rockstay says, look at that, hey, only a girl. Now we're just gonna, look, Missy, we're not gonna hurt you. Just we'll take it easy on you and make it less painful. And Midnight says, well, boys, now you're gonna pay for those words. And Bebop says, oh boy, now this is gonna be fun, right? Right, Bebop, I'm gonna have some fun with this. And Midnight and Rocksteady and Bebop fought, and the 2 cops were keeping an eye on Zuku. And Zuku was looking at them and was wondering what's going on. Then cops were shaking a bit, and Zuku was confused. And Zuku walks a bit, but says, hey there, don't make any move. And Zuku heard him and moved a bit. And the other cop says, hey, don't move. Do you not even know what we're saying? And Zuku was not even caring, just walking forward. And the cops says, damn it, he's getting me annoyed. And the cops shoot rubber rounds at him and hitting his hide. But his hide, the rubber bullets bounced off of him, and Zuku got angry. And the cop says, oh no. And Zuku's hands break the rope from Midnight and freeing himself. And Midnight was dealing with Rockstay and Bebop and was not faring too well. And Midnight says, ow, this is not looking good. I can't focus on 2 of them at once. Alright, Bebop, we need to take her out. Have you ever seen a rhino gorge? And Rockstay charges at Midnight with full speed, and Midnight used her whip to swing around and throw him. And Rockstay says, whoa, oh, my horn. And Bebop says, ha, now I gotcha, take this, and fires a minigun at her. And Midnight says, oh no, this is gonna be it. And Zuku comes out of the wall and gets blocking Midnight with those bullets with his hide. And Midnight says, thank you. And Zuku looks at Bebop, and Bebop says, "Hey, whoa! You were in those things, right? Come on, man! We're on the same side, right?" And Zuku looks at him with glaring stare, and Bebop says, "Ah, screw it! Hey, Rocksteady, we got another person on our list." And Rocksteady says, "Oh, give me a second. I have to ungorge my horn." Arr! And Bebop says, "Got it. Now take this. How about chainsaw?" And Midnight says, "Watch out!" And Zuku's hide blocks it. And Bebop says, "What the hell? How strong is your hide?" And Midnight thinks, "Right, his hide is about strong as bulletproof." And Zuku looks at him with all the anger on his eyes and grabs the chainsaw and shattering it on his hand. And Bebop says, "Oh, that was my favorite chainsaw! You really making me angry. Rocksteady, get your damn horn out of there! Hey, give me a break! Finally! Now, what are we... Oh, we're dealing with this thing. Well, let's see if he can handle this! Have a hammer!" And Zuku grabs the hammer, and Rocksteady shatters the ground off of his feet. "What? How did he..." And Zuku throws him to Bebop, and Rocksteady says, "Oh, not again!" And Bebop says, "Oh shit," and gets hit by his best friend, getting hit with him. Ow! And Zuku then looks at them, and pounding their heads with his fist, knocking them out. Ow! Both in pain. And Midnight says, "Are you angry at something?" And Zuku looks at her and looks up there. And Midnight looks at Zuku. "Did those guys fire at you?" And Zuku was angry, but he was not that angry. And Midnight says, "Well, you helped me. Thank you. Why don't you come with me to Japan?" And Zuku looks at Midnight and wonders, "What's Japan?" And Midnight says, "Alright, I have to explain kanjis as well to you. But I think you'll be a magnificent hero." And Zuku says, "Hero?" And Midnight says, "Huh? You said hero? What's your name? I'm just asking." And Zuku says, Zuku. And Midnight says, "Zuku. It means green. Nice name." And Zuku says, thank you. And so Midnight says, "Don't mention it." And that's where I'm ending this video. I hope you liked this video, and